Hi everyone, I'm Chai Lian. I trained as a scientist, and for many years I ran experiments in the lab investigating the unknown. You'd think that given what I do, I'll be very comfortable with uncertainty. Yet, for the most part of my life, I have had a complicated relationship with fear. When I was 4 years old, I noticed that I was different from the other kids. Their parents came home in the evening, mine didn't. My parents lived and worked 5 hours drive away and could only visit on some weekends. I learned that before I had the words for it, I was a left behind child. Fear for me then was saying goodbye to my parents, not knowing if or when they would come back for me. Then I turned 7. I reunited with my parents in the city. Starting school, fear became something different. I didn't know my ABCs. I didn't know how to write my name yet, and I was too afraid to ask for permission to go to the toilet. Fear was also seeing my mother's very disappointed and helpless eyes as I cried uncontrollably, asking to be reunited with my grandma. My mother had given up her job then to be my full-time caregiver. She was my cook, she was my tutor. I was her whole priority. So I went from not seeing my mother to constantly having my mother's gaze following me everywhere. By the end of that school year, the little girl who didn't know her ABCs had emerged top in class. And with that, unknowingly, I had internalized a very powerful lesson, one that would drive me for the next 30 years of my life. If I did well, I earned love. Happy mom equals happy dad. Happy mom and dad meant that I was safe. Achievement became my armor. It became my protection. So I achieved. I excelled at work, at school. I earned a PhD. I built a reputable career in science. But no matter what I do, some questions never go away. Who am I really? Beyond all these that I produce, what am I really here for? Because as meaningful as it is, being a scientist never felt whole for me. Then I turned 40. Suddenly, it's like an alarm went off inside me, and I felt that time became very real. Not something abstract, but real. And I realized that of all these fears, my greater fear is coming to the end of my life, not fully allowing myself to emerge and shine, never fully expressing myself, never really becoming myself. What about you? If you close your eyes and imagine that you have reached the end of your life, only to realize that you've lived most of it held back by fear. What did I do? So I paused. Instead of seeking the next shining thing that would make me feel good or safe, I paused and really sat with that discomfort that has been nagging me all my life. I really noticed my body, my emotions, my thoughts. And that journey took me to the depth of my soul. There I met my darkest thoughts, my deepest emotions. I met fear. And I see that fear has built this protective shell, layer upon layer. And as these layers come off, it hurts. I cried between meditations. I cried while journaling. I cried during my morning commute on the MRT. But when I looked beneath all these layers of fear, what did I discover? I see a yearning, a deep, deep yearning to be seen, to be understood, to be loved. That same yearning that 4-year-old little girl felt as she watched her parents drive away. For the first time, I felt compassion and acceptance for every version, every part of myself. That little girl who feared being abandoned. That child who was too afraid to speak. That woman who feared dying with all this potential locked inside her. I see too my mother's fears and my father's fears. I see their deep desire to be seen, to be understood, to be loved. And for the first time, I told my parents that I loved them and that I knew they have always loved me too. They have done the best that they knew how. And when doing so, something shifted. Where there was heaviness, there's now lightness. I realized that it is from this place of compassion and love that I can live into my potential, that I can share my gifts with the world. So these days, do I still meet with fear? Yes. I'm scared standing up here telling you this story. But now, I know what matters to me. I know my why. And that's enough for me to take action. So if I can leave you with this question, what is the fear that's holding you back? And what might become possible if you stop running away from it? If you're feeling stuck, empty, unfulfilled, despite achieving everything that you've always wanted, perhaps the journey, the next destination isn't somewhere out there, but it's the journey to go inwards. So I wish that you find your why, you have the courage to meet who you truly are, and most importantly, I wish that you truly emerge and shine. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, our next speaker will be